Mark and Lily had always dreamed of a quiet life together. After years of moving from city to city, finally they found a neighborhood that seemed perfect. The houses were neat, the streets were clean, and the people smiled as they passed by. Everything appeared calm, peaceful, and safe. Mark felt happy every morning as he stepped out of the small, charming house he now called home. Lily, his wife, shared the same excitement, though she carried a secret that few people ever knew. Lily had lived a life full of challenges that seemed impossible to imagine. She was a Delta Force operative, highly trained in combat, survival, and strategy. Despite retiring from active missions, she remained ready for anything. Her past was a part of her that Mark knew little about. She had always been careful to protect him from the dangers that came with her work. To most, she appeared gentle, soft-spoken, and kind. But beneath that calm exterior, she had the skills to handle the most dangerous situations in the world. On a bright Saturday morning, Mark was tending the garden while Lily arranged flowers in the small backyard. The warm sun shone over the green lawn, birds chirped, and a gentle breeze moved through the neighborhood. Everything seemed perfect. Suddenly, a knock on the front door interrupted the peaceful scene. Mark straightened and walked to the door. When he opened it, a man in a uniform stood there. The man carried a badge that read, HOA Police. His expression was stern, and his posture was rigid. "Good morning," the man said in a formal tone. "I am Officer Daniels. We have received complaints about noise coming from your property. I need to check your backyard." Mark felt a chill. Noise complaints were not unusual in neighborhoods, but something about the man's tone made him uneasy. He looked at Lily, who was walking calmly toward the door. She smiled politely. "Of course," Lily said, her voice soft and even. "Come in. Let me show you around." The officer stepped inside, but his eyes seemed to measure Lily in a way that made Mark tense. There was something unsettling about the way he moved, as though he expected trouble. Mark wondered why a noise complaint required such seriousness. "Thank you, ma'am. Please stand back while I inspect the area," the officer said. Without warning, he reached for his gun. Mark froze, shocked. He had not expected a firearm over a complaint about noise. Lily did not flinch. She raised her hand slightly, a gesture that was calm but controlled. Mark could feel the tension in the air, the moment stretching as if time had slowed. He had never seen anything like this before. His heart raced. "Sir, please lower your weapon," Lily said in a voice that was quiet but firm. Her gaze locked onto the officer's, calm and unwavering. "There is no need for this." The officer hesitated, glancing around nervously. But Lily moved just slightly. In a swift, fluid motion, she disarmed him without causing harm. Mark's jaw dropped. He realized in an instant that his wife's skills were far beyond ordinary. She was calm, precise, and in complete control of the situation. Mark had always known Lily was special. She was confident, intelligent, and strong. But seeing her handle a dangerous situation with such skill made him feel both pride and fear. Pride because he was married to someone incredible, and fear because the quiet life he imagined might not be so simple after all. The officer stumbled backward, shocked at what had just happened. He realized he had underestimated Lily completely. She guided him to a chair and instructed him to call his superiors. Mark watched silently, still trying to comprehend what he had just seen. After the officer complied, Lily turned to Mark. "Everything is okay now," she said calmly. "He will not cause trouble again today." Mark approached her, still in awe.
"Lily, I had no idea."
"I mean, I knew you had a past, but this—" He shook his head. "This is something else." Lily smiled softly, a hint of sadness in her eyes. "I did not want you to worry. I have always tried to keep this part of my life separate. But sometimes the past finds you even when you are trying to live quietly." Mark took a deep breath. He realized that their peaceful neighborhood was not as simple as it seemed. But he also realized that with Lily by his side, he was safe. No one could surprise her, and she could protect both of them from threats they could not even imagine. After the officer left, Mark and Lily went back to the backyard. The sun was still shining, but the air felt different. There was a new awareness between them, an understanding that life could change in an instant. Mark decided he needed to learn more about his wife's past, not because he wanted to enter her world, but because he wanted to understand the woman who had saved them both. Over the next few hours, the couple talked quietly in the backyard. Lily explained some of her training, the importance of staying prepared, and the skills she had learned over years of missions. Mark listened, fascinated. The stories were incredible, filled with moments that seemed almost impossible to believe. He realized that Lily's calm and gentle nature was not weakness, but strength. Her ability to act decisively in dangerous situations was part of who she was. He felt grateful that she had chosen a life with him, where he could see only a glimpse of her extraordinary abilities. Later that evening, the neighborhood seemed even quieter. The incident had already begun to stir whispers among neighbors, though Mark and Lily had not spoken to anyone yet. They decided it was best to maintain privacy. Lily knew that attention could lead to complications, and Mark trusted her judgment completely. As night fell, Mark reflected on the events of the day. He had expected a simple, peaceful life in the new house, but reality had been far more exciting. Despite the shock of the confrontation, he felt reassured. With Lily's experience and training, they could face any unexpected event, any threat, and come through safely. Lily, meanwhile, felt a sense of relief. She had kept control of the situation without anyone being harmed. She also felt confident that Mark was beginning to understand the reality of her past. It was not just a story. It was her life, her skill, and her responsibility. She knew that living quietly in the neighborhood would not erase the training and instincts she had developed over years. The next morning, the couple woke up to another bright day. Birds chirped outside the window and sunlight filled the rooms. For Mark, the calm of the neighborhood felt different now. He knew peace could be fragile, and that vigilance was sometimes necessary even in the quietest of places. But he also knew that he had the best protector by his side. Lily's presence, her skill, and her calm determination gave him confidence that together they could handle anything. The day's events had changed their lives, but it also strengthened their bond, trust, and understanding of one another. Mark looked at Lily as she arranged breakfast. She smiled at him, warm and reassuring. He realized that even though the world could be unpredictable with Lily, he felt safe. And he also understood something else sometimes. The extraordinary hides behind the most ordinary appearances. Life in the new neighborhood had started with a shocking encounter, but it also began a new chapter of trust, awareness, and quiet strength. Mark and Lily were ready for whatever came next, and together they knew they could face it without fear. The quiet life they had dreamed of had arrived in an unexpected way, full of surprises and lessons, and it all started with a knock at the door, a uniformed officer, and the calm, steady hand of a woman who could handle anything. The morning after the unexpected visit, Mark still could not shake the image of Lily disarming the officer so calmly and efficiently. He had always known she was capable, but seeing her in action brought a mix of awe and unease. The quiet neighborhood they had imagined was not as simple as it appeared. Lily moved around the house with her usual grace, arranging things as if nothing unusual had happened. She spoke to Mark in a soft tone. "You need to stay calm. People sometimes react strangely when they feel power, but we can handle it." Mark nodded, though his mind raced. I never thought someone would draw a gun over a noise complaint," he said. "How did you know exactly what to do?" Lily looked at him, her eyes serious yet gentle. "Years of training teach you to read people, to act before things get out of control. I do not want you worried, but I cannot hide my skills when the situation requires them." Mark understood, but still felt unsettled. He had imagined life in the neighborhood as calm walks, friendly neighbors, and quiet evenings. Instead, he had witnessed a reminder that danger could appear anywhere, even in the most ordinary places. Later that day, as they sat down for lunch, a faint sound from outside caught Lily's attention. She paused mid-bite, listening carefully. Mark noticed her sudden focus. "What is it?" he asked quietly. Lily shook her head slightly. "Nothing yet, but I always notice things others might not. Keep calm." Mark followed her gaze to the window and saw a small drone hovering near their property. It was quiet but deliberate. Someone was watching them. His heart skipped a beat. "Mark, we need to be careful. Someone is testing our response," Lily explained calmly. "It is not an immediate threat, but I want to know who is watching." Mark nodded, feeling a mixture of fear and admiration. He had never imagined a day like this. The peaceful neighborhood they had moved to now felt like a stage for unknown challenges. Over the next few hours, Lily inspected the surroundings carefully. She noted tire tracks in the street, footprints near the backyard fence, and the faint hum of the drone as it moved silently overhead. Her trained eyes missed nothing. Mark tried to keep up, but it was difficult. "How do you see all of this so clearly?" he asked. Lily smiled slightly. Training, observation, and experience. I learned to notice details that others would miss. It is not about fear. It is about preparation. As evening approached, a knock at the door startled them both. Lily approached it slowly, signaling Mark to stay back. When she opened the door, it was not an officer this time, but a neighbor. The woman smiled politely, holding a basket. I wanted to welcome you both again, the neighbor said. I heard there was a little excitement yesterday. I hope everything is okay. Lily nodded graciously. Everything is fine, thank you. We appreciate your concern. After the neighbor left, Lily closed the door and turned to Mark. People will talk. That is normal. But some will watch carefully, curious or suspicious. We cannot change that, but we can remain cautious. Mark realized that Lily's life was not just about her past missions. It was also about constant awareness, predicting risks, and protecting the people she cared about. He felt lucky that he was included in her world, even partially. That night, Mark tried to sleep, but his mind was restless. The quiet hum of the neighborhood felt different now. Shadows seemed longer, sounds sharper. He knew that Lily was always prepared, but he could not shake the feeling that someone or something was testing them. The next morning, Lily suggested they take a walk around the neighborhood. It will help you feel more comfortable, she said. We need to observe without alarming anyone. Awareness is the key, Mark agreed, though he remained tense. They walked down the streets, noticing small details Lily pointed out. A car parked too long near the corner, a fence slightly ajar, footprints that did not match anyone they knew. Each observation felt like a lesson in vigilance. Suddenly, Lily stopped. She crouched down, examining the ground. These tracks are fresh, she said. Someone came close to the house last night. We need to be ready in case they return. Mark's stomach tightened. Should we call the police? He asked. Lily shook her head. Not yet. This is not a situation for them. It requires careful handling. I want to see who is responsible first. Over the next few days, they took extra precautions. Lily installed small cameras around the property, checked the perimeter, and even taught Mark basic observation techniques. He began to notice things he would have overlooked before. A shadow moving in the distance. A sound out of place, the pattern of people walking past their house. One afternoon, while they were reviewing camera footage, they saw something unexpected. A figure in a dark hoodie had approached their property, checking the doors and windows. The figure seemed careful but inexperienced. Lily leaned closer to the screen. Mark, this person is not professional. They are testing the boundaries, looking for weaknesses. That makes them dangerous but also predictable. Mark felt a mixture of relief and concern. Predictable? He asked. Yes, Lily replied. We can prepare for them. They will try again, and when they do, we will be ready. It is not about fear. It is about action. That evening, they planned carefully. Lily showed Mark how to secure the doors, check the perimeter, and respond if someone entered their property. Mark felt empowered by her guidance. He realized that vigilance was not just about fear, it was about confidence and preparation. Later that night, a sound outside alerted them again. Lily moved silently toward the window, signaling Mark to stay back. From the shadows, the same figure appeared, approaching cautiously. Lily's eyes narrowed. She moved with incredible speed, intercepting the intruder before he could reach the door. The figure froze, stunned at how quickly Lily acted. She guided him gently but firmly to the ground, keeping him calm. Mark watched, amazed. Her skill, precision, and control were unmatched. Do not move, Lily instructed. You are not in danger if you cooperate. We just need answers. The intruder stammered, explaining that he was curious about their home after hearing rumors about the HOA incident. He had not intended harm, but his actions were reckless. Lily listened carefully, her eyes sharp and calculating. After assessing the situation, she made a decision. You need to leave immediately and report nothing to anyone, she said calmly. Curiosity is dangerous. Understand that now. The intruder nodded quickly, realizing he had encountered someone far beyond his expectations. He left without further incident. Mark exhaled, feeling both relief and awe. Lily, you handled that perfectly, he said. I cannot believe how calm you were. She smiled, placing a hand on his shoulder. Mark, calmness is part of preparation. Confidence comes from knowledge and skill. I want you to see that strength is not about anger or aggression. It is about control. Mark realized that his life with Lily was extraordinary. The quiet neighborhood, the sunny streets, and the friendly neighbors were only part of the story. Behind the calm surface, there was awareness, strategy, and protection. He felt grateful that he was included in her world, even as she shielded him from the full dangers. As they settled down for the night, Mark felt a new sense of understanding. He knew that the quiet life they had hoped for might never be as simple as they imagined, but he also knew that with Lily by his side, they could face any challenge. The tension from the past few days had shown him a truth he could not ignore. The ordinary could hide the extraordinary, and the extraordinary could protect the ordinary. Mark drifted to sleep feeling both cautious and reassured. Lily's presence was a constant reminder that preparation and skill could turn fear into confidence and danger into control. The world around them might be unpredictable, but together, they could face it without worry. The days after the incident with the HOA officer and the intruder were quiet, but a sense of alertness lingered over Mark and Lily. Mark could not stop thinking about how calm and precise Lily had been during both confrontations. Her abilities were extraordinary, but her calmness was even more impressive. It made him realize that there was much about her past he had never truly understood. One afternoon, as the sun filtered gently through the living room windows, Mark turned to Lily. "I want to understand everything, Lily. I know some of your past, but not enough. I need to know who you are really." Lily paused, considering his words. She had always wanted to protect him from the dangerous truths of her life. But now, after seeing the events unfold, she realized that he needed to know more. "Mark, my past is complicated, but you have a right to know some of it. I am still connected to Delta Force. I am trained to handle extreme situations, and I have faced dangers that few could imagine. I am active, though not on missions all the time. My life is about readiness and protection." Mark listened carefully, his heart racing with both fear and admiration. "You mean, everything I saw, it was real? You really could handle those situations?" Lily nodded. "Yes, Mark. What you saw yesterday and the day before was not just skill. It is training, discipline, and experience. I have spent years preparing for situations exactly like that. My goal has always been to keep us safe without putting anyone in harm's way." Mark tried to process the revelation. His wife, the woman he had married for her kindness and warmth, had a history and a set of skills that were almost unimaginable. It explained the calmness, the precision, and the way she could read people and situations instantly. But it also raised questions. "Lily, why didn't you tell me? Why keep this hidden?" Lily took his hand, her grip firm and reassuring. "I wanted a normal life with you, Mark. My world is dangerous, and I did not want to bring that into our home. I wanted us to enjoy peace, to have happiness without fear. But some things cannot be avoided. You need to see reality sometimes to be ready for it." Mark looked around their home, realizing that the quiet walls and bright rooms now felt like part of a story much bigger than he had imagined. "I understand, Lily, and I am proud of you. I want to be ready too. I want to help in any way I can." Lily smiled, a mixture of affection and pride in her eyes. "You already help by being calm, alert, and trusting. I cannot expect you to handle missions, but your support and understanding are crucial. The world may not always be quiet, Mark, but together we can face it." The conversation strengthened Mark's sense of connection with Lily. He realized that her past, though dangerous, had shaped her into a person capable of immense courage and wisdom. It also made him feel grateful that he was included in her life, even if only partially. Over the next few days, Lily began to teach Mark simple self-defense and observation techniques. She explained how to notice details, recognize unusual behavior, and stay calm under pressure. Mark quickly learned that vigilance was not just about fear. It was about awareness and confidence. One afternoon, while they were practicing, Lily said, "Mark, I want you to remember something important. Skills alone are not enough. The mind must remain calm. Panic destroys judgment. Confidence comes from knowledge and preparation, not strength or force." Mark nodded, focusing on the lesson. "I understand, Lily. Calmness first, action second." That evening, as they walked around the neighborhood, Lily's senses remained alert. She noticed small details that Mark had never considered, A car parked slightly off-center on the street, shadows that moved unnaturally and footprints that seemed out of place. Each observation was a reminder of the skills she possessed and the dangers she had faced before. Suddenly, Lily stopped. She crouched near the ground and examined something closely. "Fresh tracks," she said. "Someone was near the house again today. They are cautious but curious. We need to know who is testing us." Mark felt a chill. "Again? Why are they so focused on us?" Lily looked at him, her expression serious. "Some people are curious about strength. Others are reckless. Both can be dangerous if not handled carefully. That is why awareness is important. We need to be prepared." They returned home and reviewed the security footage from their cameras. The figure that had approached them previously appeared again. This time, the intruder lingered longer, moving carefully along the perimeter. Lily analyzed every movement, her sharp eyes catching details that Mark would have missed entirely. "This person is not trained," she explained. "They are learning, watching for weakness. That makes them dangerous, but it also makes them predictable. We will use that to our advantage." Mark felt a mix of fear and admiration. He had never imagined that his peaceful neighborhood would involve such careful observation and strategy. But he trusted Lily completely. Her skills were unmatched, and her judgment was precise. As night fell, they prepared for the possibility of another visit. Lily guided Mark through securing the doors and windows, checking the perimeter, and setting up safe zones in the house. She explained each step calmly, emphasizing the importance of staying alert, but not fearful. Later, a sound outside drew their attention. Lily moved silently toward the window, signaling Mark to stay back. From the shadows, the intruder appeared once more, testing the limits of their home. Lily's movements were swift and controlled. As she intercepted the person before they could approach the door, the intruder froze, astonished at the speed and precision of her actions. Lily guided them to a safe spot, keeping calm and measured. She questioned them carefully, learning that they had acted out of curiosity rather than malice. "You are lucky," Lily said gently but firmly. "Curiosity can be dangerous. Do not return." The intruder nodded, realizing they had encountered someone far beyond their expectations. They left without further incident, and Lily returned to Mark, her calm demeanor never faltering. Mark exhaled deeply, feeling a mixture of relief and awe. "Lily, how do you stay so calm in moments like that?" She smiled, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Calmness is preparation. Confidence comes from knowledge, training, and experience. Acting rashly leads to mistakes. Staying focused and aware allows control." That night, Mark lay awake thinking about the revelations. He had always known Lily was extraordinary, but now he understood the full depth of her abilities. He realized that her calmness, intelligence, and skill were not just for missions. They were for life, for protecting the people she cared about most. He also understood that their quiet neighborhood was only a temporary illusion. Life could bring unexpected challenges at any time, but with Lily, he felt safe, reassured, and ready to face whatever came next. As he drifted to sleep, Mark reflected on the day's events. The ordinary could hide the extraordinary, and the extraordinary could protect the ordinary. He had glimpsed the full measure of Lily's strength and skill, and he knew their life together would never be the same again. From that night on, Mark viewed the world differently. He was more aware, more cautious, but also more confident. With Lily by his side, they could face anything, and he realized that trust, knowledge, and preparation were the keys to safety and peace. Lily lay beside him, calm and serene, a living reminder that strength could be gentle, courage could be quiet, and extraordinary skill could protect ordinary life. Together, they had faced danger, learned truths, and emerged stronger. Mark finally understood that Lily's life was a balance between extraordinary skill and ordinary love. That balance was what kept them safe, what allowed them to live in peace, and what made their bond unbreakable. The days after the intruder incident were quieter, but the energy in the neighborhood had shifted. Mark and Lily noticed subtle changes. Neighbors exchanged glances when they walked past. Some smiled politely, others whispered softly among themselves. Mark could feel curiosity in the air. The story of the HOA officer who had drawn a gun, and the mysterious way Lily had handled him, seemed to have spread faster than he expected. One morning, while Lily was tending the flowers in the backyard, a neighbor approached. Her name was Emily, a woman in her 40s with kind eyes and a gentle demeanor. She carried a basket of freshly baked bread. "I wanted to welcome you again," Emily said, smiling. "I heard about the incident. I hope everything is okay," Lily smiled politely. "Thank you, Emily, everything is fine. We are just adjusting to the neighborhood." Emily glanced at Lily curiously, sensing there was more than met the eye. "Well, if you ever need anything, I am here." After Emily left, Mark looked at Lily with wide eyes. "People are talking, aren't they?" he asked quietly. Lily nodded. "Yes, curiosity spreads quickly. Some are cautious, some are impressed, and some might be wary. We cannot control what people think, but we can control our actions." That afternoon, Mark and Lily walked through the neighborhood. Lily's attention remained sharp, noticing details that others would miss. A man in a nearby yard watched them carefully, his posture stiff. A group of teenagers paused mid-laugh as they walked past, glancing at them more than usual. "Mark," Lily said softly, "some people are observing more than they should. Not all attention is dangerous, but it is important to recognize it." Mark nodded, understanding that living in a neighborhood could bring unexpected attention. He realized that the quiet life they had hoped for was more complicated than he imagined. Later that evening, a few neighbors stopped by at different times. Some came with small gifts, some just to chat, and some with questions about the previous incidents. Lily remained calm and composed, answering politely without revealing too much. Mark noticed the mix of respect, curiosity, and slight fear in their eyes. People sensed her strength even without seeing her skills. One evening, their neighbor Mr. Parker approached while Lily was watering the garden. He was a tall man with a serious look, someone who usually kept to himself. "Lily, I wanted to apologize for what happened with the HOA officer," Mr. Parker said. "I did not expect that situation, and I hope it is resolved now." Lily nodded. "Yes, it is resolved. Thank you for your concern." Mark noticed that Mr. Parker's eyes lingered on Lily longer than usual, as if he was trying to understand her calmness and control. Lily's presence seemed to command respect without words. Over the next few days, more neighbors came by, some curious, some cautious. Each interaction showed Mark that people had noticed a difference. Lily's calm demeanor and polite but firm responses had left an impression. The neighborhood was beginning to see that the couple was not ordinary. One afternoon, as they reviewed their security footage, Lily noticed another figure approaching their property. This person moved more cautiously than the previous intruder. They seemed to have learned from the last incident. "This person is careful," Lily explained. "They are observing patterns, looking for weaknesses. That makes them more dangerous, but also predictable. We can use that knowledge." Mark felt a sense of tension. Why do they keep coming back? What do they want? Lily shook her head. Curiosity. Some people are drawn to what they do not understand. They want to test boundaries. We must show them respect, but also set limits clearly. That evening, Lily and Mark prepared their home again. Doors were secured, cameras checked, and perimeters examined. Mark noticed how calmly Lily moved, her eyes scanning every angle, every detail. Her confidence was contagious. Later that night, the cautious intruder appeared. Lily moved quickly and silently, intercepting the person before they could reach the door. Her actions were precise, controlled, and without aggression. "Do not approach the property again," Lily said firmly. "Curiosity can be dangerous. Understand the boundaries." The intruder nodded, startled by her speed and control. They left without further trouble. Mark exhaled, feeling a mixture of relief and admiration. Lily had handled the situation without conflict, demonstrating strength and intelligence. The next morning, Mark reflected on the events. He realized that Lily's presence alone had changed how the neighborhood viewed them. People were cautious, respectful, and even a little in awe. He understood that her skills were not just for protection, but also for maintaining peace in ways that did not require violence. Lily noticed his thoughts. Mark's strength is not always about confrontation. It is about control, awareness, and calm action. People sense that even if they cannot see it fully. That is why respect grows without force. Mark nodded, appreciating the wisdom in her words. He realized that their life in the neighborhood was no longer ordinary. Every interaction, every glance, and every action carried weight. But he also knew that with Lily, they could navigate this new reality safely. In the following days, the neighborhood continued to respond. Some neighbors became friendly, offering assistance or small gestures of kindness. Others remained cautious, observing silently. Mark noticed that Lily never reacted with hostility. She treated everyone with respect while maintaining clear boundaries. One afternoon, while they were tending the garden together, Emily returned with a small tray of lemonade. "I just wanted to check in," she said, smiling. "It seems like everything is settling down now." Lily smiled warmly. "Yes, thank you, Emily. We appreciate your concern and kindness." Mark noticed that even the casual interactions had changed. Neighbors now approached with a sense of awareness, a subtle respect for the couple who had faced unexpected events calmly and decisively. Lily's presence, skill, and composure had created a quiet but powerful influence. That evening, Mark and Lily sat together on the porch, watching the sun set over the neighborhood. The sky was painted in shades of orange and pink. The world seemed calm, but Mark knew that the peace was delicate. "Mark," Lily said softly, "the neighborhood is adjusting. People are learning about boundaries, respect, and observation. We have influenced that not through force but through action and calmness." Mark nodded, feeling pride and reassurance. "I see that now. I understand why people respect you, even without knowing the full story. You handle everything with such grace." Lily smiled, resting her head on his shoulder. "Grace comes from preparation and understanding. Life will bring challenges, but we can face them together. Awareness, calmness, and control are more powerful than fear or aggression." Mark felt a deep sense of trust and admiration. He understood that Lily's life was a blend of extraordinary skill and quiet strength. Her abilities had shaped their world, but her calm and gentle nature ensured that peace remained. As night fell, the neighborhood returned to quiet. The previous tensions and curious glances had transformed into cautious respect. People understood, even if only subtly, that the couple was not ordinary. Lily had changed the perception of the neighborhood without confrontation, violence, or conflict. Mark and Lily remained alert, prepared for any new challenges, but they also enjoyed the calm moments together. They knew that the extraordinary could hide in ordinary places and that strength could be quiet and controlled. The events of the past week had shown Mark a new reality. Life in the neighborhood was never going to be simple, but with Lily it was safe, guided, and meaningful. He realized that true courage and skill were not just for dangerous missions, they were for everyday life, for protecting loved ones, and for creating respect without fear. As they settled inside for the night, Mark felt a sense of gratitude. He had witnessed the calm power of Lily, the way she navigated tension and the way she protected both him and their home. The neighborhood had reacted, changed, and adapted, but their bond remained the center of everything. Mark knew one thing for certain: with Lily by his side, they could face whatever came next. The quiet life they had dreamed of had taken on a new meaning. It was no longer just about calm streets and friendly neighbors. It was about awareness, preparation, and strength used wisely. And for the first time, Mark felt completely ready to face the extraordinary, not just in the world, but in the woman he loved. The morning light shone softly through the windows as Mark brewed coffee in the kitchen. The house felt peaceful. Birds chirped outside and the soft hum of the neighborhood filled the air. It was hard to believe that only a few days ago tension had filled the same air. Lily entered the room, calm as always, her steps quiet but steady. Mark smiled when he saw her. "You know, I think the neighborhood has finally settled down," he said. Lily gave a small smile. "Peace is not permanent, but we have earned calm for now." Mark understood what she meant. He had learned that peace was something one built and maintained, not something that just happened. He handed her a cup of coffee and they sat together at the table. "Do you miss your old life?" he asked suddenly. Lily looked out the window for a moment before replying. "Sometimes I miss the purpose. Every mission had a goal. Every action had meaning. But here I am learning a new kind of purpose, protecting this life we have created." Mark nodded. He admired how she could move from military life to peaceful living without losing herself. After breakfast, Lily stepped outside to water the plants. The air was cool and fresh. As she worked, Emily approached again, carrying a small envelope. "Good morning, Lily," Emily said cheerfully. "There's a neighborhood meeting this evening at the community center. Everyone is invited. They're planning to discuss safety and new HOA rules." Lily nodded politely. "Thank you, Emily, we will attend." Mark overheard the conversation and gave her a questioning look. "Are you sure? After everything that happened, are you ready to face the HOA again?" Lily smiled. Sometimes peace is not about avoiding situations, but facing them with calm. Evening arrived quickly. The community center was small but comfortable. Chairs were arranged in neat rows, and the HOA members sat at a long table in front. The room filled with neighbors, their voices low with mixed emotions. Some glanced at Lily and Mark as they entered. Mark felt tension in the room. He could see whispers among a few board members. The memory of the incident with the HOA officer was still fresh for many. The meeting began. Mr. Harris, the HOA president, cleared his throat and started speaking. "Thank you, everyone, for coming. We are here to discuss community safety, recent events, and how to prevent misunderstandings in the future." Lily and Mark sat quietly, listening. When the discussion opened to residents, Emily raised her hand first. "I think we should all remember that safety also means understanding one another. Some people in this neighborhood have shown great responsibility and calm during stressful times. We should learn from that." Her eyes met Lily's for a brief moment. Several people nodded in agreement. Mr. Harris hesitated before speaking again. "We are aware of the incident involving one of our officers. It was unfortunate and should never have happened. We are reviewing our procedures." Lily stood slowly, her voice calm but clear. "Safety begins with respect. Everyone deserves to feel safe in their own home. I hope this community can focus on that." Her words carried a weight that silenced the room. Even those who had been skeptical now listened intently. There was no anger in her tone, only quiet strength. Mr. Harris nodded. "You are right, Mrs. Miller. Thank you for your words. We appreciate your patience." After the meeting, several neighbors approached to speak with her. Some apologized for earlier assumptions. Others thanked her for handling things so calmly. Lily responded kindly to each one, showing no sign of pride or resentment. Mark watched her with quiet admiration. He realized that her strength did not come from training alone. It came from wisdom, patience, and understanding. When they returned home that night, the stars were shining bright. The air was still, and for the first time since they had moved in, Mark felt that the neighborhood had accepted them. The next morning, as Mark was fixing the fence, Mr. Parker approached again, holding 2 cups of coffee. "Mind if I help?" he asked. Mark smiled. "Sure, I could use the help." As they worked, Mr. Parker spoke softly. "You have a strong wife, Mark. People notice that. It has changed the way many of us think about safety and respect." Mark nodded proudly. "Yes, she has that effect on people." Across the yard, Lily was checking the security cameras, making sure everything worked smoothly. Her movements were calm and efficient. Even when things seemed peaceful, she never lowered her awareness. Later that week, the HOA announced new safety guidelines. The board had agreed to stricter background checks for anyone working under the HOA, and residents were encouraged to report concerns respectfully. The neighborhood slowly began to trust one another again. One evening, Lily and Mark were invited to a small neighborhood dinner hosted by Emily. It was a simple gathering with laughter, homemade food, and soft music. During dinner, Emily raised a glass. "To peace and understanding," she said warmly. "And to those who protect it quietly." Lily smiled modestly, not seeking attention. But Mark could see how everyone's eyes turned to her with quiet respect. As the evening went on, conversations grew lighter. People shared stories and laughter filled the air. Mark realized that they were no longer outsiders. The same neighbors who once whispered now welcomed them with open hearts. Later, as they walked home under the night sky, Mark said, "You've changed this place, Lily. Without even trying, you made them see things differently." Lily looked up at the stars. "Change happens when people see calm strength. Fear creates walls. Respect builds bridges." Mark nodded, feeling her words settle deeply. "You really believe that, don't you?" "Yes," she said softly. "Strength is not about power. It is about control, respect, and understanding when to act and when to stay still." The following days brought even more peace. The neighborhood became friendlier. Kids played outside again. People waved from their porches. Even the HOA members seemed lighter in mood. One morning, Lily received a letter in the mail. It was from the HOA. Mark opened it curiously. Inside was a simple note. Thank you for helping this community find peace again. Your calm leadership inspired change. Mark smiled and handed it to Lily. She read it silently, then placed it on the counter. Acknowledgement is nice, she said, but peace is the real reward. A few weeks later, the same HOA officer who had caused trouble before returned, not in uniform, but as a man seeking forgiveness. He stood at their doorstep, hat in hand. I came to apologize, he said sincerely. I acted without thinking, and I understand now how wrong I was. I'm truly sorry. Lily looked at him quietly for a moment before replying. Acknowledging mistakes is the first step toward peace. I accept your apology. The man looked relieved. Thank you. I hope your family finds peace here. After he left, Mark looked at Lily. You handled that better than anyone else could. Lily smiled faintly. Forgiveness brings more peace than anger ever could. Days turned into weeks and life finally felt normal. Lily and Mark enjoyed simple things, morning walks, gardening, and quiet evenings. Yet beneath the calm surface, both remained prepared for anything. Mark often thought about how much he had learned from Lily. She had shown him that real courage did not shout. It spoke in calm, measured words. It protected without threatening. It inspired without commanding. Their home, once a place of tension and doubt, had become a symbol of respect and safety. The neighborhood had grown stronger because one woman had chosen to act with restraint instead of anger. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Mark turned to her. You know, you never told anyone what you really do, but somehow they already know you're not ordinary. Lily smiled, watching the fading light. They do not need to know details. Respect is earned through actions, not titles. Mark placed his hand over hers. And you've earned it more than anyone I've ever known. The wind blew softly through the trees as they stood together, watching the stars begin to appear. For the first time, the neighborhood was at complete peace, and so were they. Lily had faced confrontation, suspicion, and fear, yet she had turned it all into understanding and respect. Without revealing her true identity, she had reminded everyone that true strength is quiet, calm, and wise. And in that quiet neighborhood, under the soft night sky, the couple finally found what they had been searching for all along. Peace earned through patience and strength, guided by heart.